We're all taught that a high IQ is pretty much the ultimate cheat code for success. But what if that's only like half the story? So let's really get into this. What if the key to true brilliance isn't just about having a sky-high IQ? I mean, we've all seen it, right? The certified genius who can't hold a relationship together, or that brilliant developer who just completely melts down under the slightest pressure. So why does that happen? Well, the answer really lies in what you could call the iceberg theory of the mind. Think about it like this. Your IQ, all your skills, and your knowledge, that's just the tip of the iceberg. It's the part everybody sees. But your emotional intelligence, your EQ, that's the massive hidden foundation under the water that really determines how far you're going to go. So today, that's what we're going to do. We're unpacking the 5 specific EQ habits that highly intelligent people use to unlock their absolute full potential. Let's do it. First up, we have habit number 1, mastering the pause. This is all about wrestling back control right when your gut instincts are screaming at you to react. Okay, so when we face what we perceive as a threat, it could be an insult at work, a sudden crisis, heck, even just someone cutting you off in traffic, our brain's little threat detector, the amygdala, can totally hijack our logic. It's called an amygdala hijack, and it literally shuts down your prefrontal cortex. That's the smart, rational part of your brain. It temporarily makes you, well, kind of dumb. You just react without thinking. So here's the secret weapon. High EQ people, they train themselves to stick a little buffer in there. It's a simple 3-step process. First, the thing happens, the stimulus. Second, and this is the key, you intentionally pause. And you know what? Research shows that just 6 seconds is usually enough for that first wave of emotion to kind of wash over you. And then third, once your logic is back online, you can finally respond instead of just reacting. So let's move on to our second habit, which builds right on top of that. It's called emotional granularity. And this is all about turning those big, messy feelings into useful data. See, most people operate with a really low-res picture of their own emotions. They just feel bad or stressed or mad. But someone with high EQ, they see it in high definition. So instead of just, I feel bad, they can identify, no, I feel disappointed. Instead of a vague, I'm stressed, they realize, actually, I think I'm feeling lonely. And instead of just, I'm mad, they can pinpoint, I feel indignant. Why does this matter? Because emotions are data. When you can put a precise name on an emotion, you can actually manage it. Think about it. You can't fix a problem you can't even define. That stress you're feeling might actually be a symptom of loneliness. That anger could be covering up for shame. Naming the exact emotion lets you find the exact solution. Habit number 3 is cognitive empathy. And this one's a really important distinction. It is not about feeling someone else's pain. That can be exhausting. It's about understanding their perspective. High EQ people pretty much treat this like a puzzle. They ask themselves this incredibly powerful question, given this person's background, their fears, and the information they have right now, why does their behavior make perfect sense to them? So here's the crucial part. You don't have to agree with them. You don't have to excuse their behavior. The goal is just to understand the logic driving it from their side of the table. This is the skill that lets you de-escalate conflicts that other smart people just make worse by trying to win the argument with a bunch of facts. You're not trying to win, you're just trying to understand. Okay, let's move on to habit 4. Intrinsic motivation. This is all about having your own internal engine that doesn't need somebody else to keep putting fuel in it. See, a lot of people are powered by external rewards, praise, money, status. But the problem is, when the applause stops, so does their effort. High EQ folks, on the other hand, they operate with a growth mindset. And what's so cool about this is how it totally reframes failure. They don't see it as a personal attack on their identity. To them, failure is just necessary data for getting better. And this is what makes them so resilient. Their drive comes from within. They don't need a boss breathing down their neck, because their standard of excellence, that's a contract they signed with themselves. And that brings us to our final habit, number 5, the social thermostat. This is such a powerful metaphor for leadership and influence. In any group setting, there's always an emotional temperature in the room. Now, most people are thermometers. They just reflect the energy around them. If the room gets anxious, they get anxious. But a high EQ leader, they're a thermostat. They don't just reflect the energy, they set it. They can walk into total chaos, and just by being calm, they force the entire room to cool down. Because here's the thing, emotions are contagious. Leaders with high emotional intelligence get this, and they use it. They deliberately infect their team with the feelings they want to see, like stability, focus, and a sense of optimism. So when you put it all together, true brilliance isn't just about how fast your brain works. It's about how well you can navigate the incredibly messy, complex world of human emotion. When you combine that raw intellect with the kind of insight these habits give you, you become more than just smart, you become wise. So I'll leave you with a final question to think about. Which of these 5 habits do you need to work on the most? Give it some thought. Because the answer might just be the key to unlocking your own next level.